If you're skinny guy stuck at the same weight, 135, 140, maybe 150, and no matter how much you think you eat, you still can't gain anything, this right here is finally going to explain why. I was that guy too. I'd bulk up for a week, maybe. I'd fall off and then stay skinny year after year. But once I learned a system for eating, training, and staying consistent, everything changed. And now I help tons of guys go from 135 to 150, 160, even upwards to over 200 pounds. So today I'm going to break down the exact step-by-step blueprint for how skinny guys can gain real weight in 2025, even if you failed 10 times before. So let's start with why you're not gaining weight, because it's not your metabolism. First problem that you need to realize you have is that you're not in an actual surplus, because if you were, then you wouldn't even be watching this video, because you would be consistently gaining weight week after week. Most skinny guys think, oh, if I just eat a lot or if I eat as much as I can, then that means I should be gaining weight pretty consistently, because everyone says just eat more food. And of course you need to eat more food, but you also need to eat strategically. Right? The second problem is that you guys are training inconsistently. This is pretty straight up. Most of you guys show up, you might train for a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then you fall off, and then you're hitting the gym once a week, sometimes twice a week, and you pause for 3 weeks, and then that 3 weeks turns into 3 months, and then all of a sudden you're back at square one. And then number 3 is a start stop, which ties in to you being inconsistent with your training, because you guys start something, whether that's your nutrition, whether that's your training, whether it's a new schedule, and then you stop, and then you rinse and repeat this cycle. You have no structure, you have a busy schedule, and you also have no accountability. So let's start with the you're not in a real surplus, because this is something that a lot of you guys struggle with, and it was something that I struggled with too. What you have to realize is that you eating a lot of food, quote unquote, or it's up there, you eating a lot of food doesn't necessarily translate to you being in a surplus. So what exactly is a calorie surplus? The most basic and straightforward way that I can put it without boring you guys to death is that this is you eating above the amount of calories that your body needs to maintain its body weight. Meaning, this is the amount of calories that you need to maintain the body weight that you're at, right? So let's give an example. Let's say you're 130 pounds and let's just throw a number out there. Let's say it takes 2,000 calories. This is just for the sake of example. Let's say it takes 2,000 calories for your body to maintain this. In order for you to be in a surplus, that means you have to eat more than 2,000 calories a day. And ideally, you're going to be in a 3 to 500 calorie surplus, right? But the problem that a lot of you guys have is that you're just eating and you're not actually tracking anything. So you're never actually in a real caloric surplus, right? That's problem number 1. And then problem number 2 seems so straightforward, but this is something that a lot of you guys continuously do to yourselves and wonder why you're not making any progress. If you tell yourself, hey, I'm going to train 4 to 5 times a week, cool, you need to actually do that. But what a lot of you guys do is that you'll lock in for a week or so, you won't see any progress, and then you completely just scrap everything. And then you're back to training inconsistently. So we'll come back to this, because all of these aspects sort of work together with each other, right? And the start-stop pattern is just so straightforward. If you start training consistently and then you stop training consistently, you're obviously going to make less progress than you would if you were being consistent, right? If you start eating in a real surplus and then all of a sudden you don't, you're automatically going to go back to square one a couple of weeks after you start eating under your maintenance level again, which is what most of you guys are doing. And then no structure, like I said, plays into all of this, because the reality of it is, if you have a structured plan, it'll make it so much easier for you to do every single one of these things, and it'll make it so much easier for you to actually stay on top of it when it comes to your busy schedule that keeps knocking you off track, right? One of the other reasons why you guys aren't making any progress at all is because you have no one holding you accountable. You have no one helping you. You're trying to do all this stuff on your own, and one, you don't even know if you're doing anything right, and then when you do things the right way, you keep falling off because you have no one there to pick you up to help you. And you guys may be watching this saying like, okay, Isaiah, I get that these are my problems. I know that I'm not in a real surplus. I know I'm not training consistently. I know I start and stop. I know I have no structure. I know I have a busy schedule and no accountability. Then what the heck am I supposed to do? I'm about to explain to you every single thing that you need to do in order to actually make progress and do so consistently. So the first thing that you need to make sure that you're in is you're in the surplus. So the first thing that you need to make sure that you're in is that you're in the surplus, right? So how do you know exactly what the surplus is for your body specifically, because everyone's different? It's one of 2 ways. You can either multiply your body weight from 16 to 18 and then get a good gauge there, or you can get a good estimate online by importing your body weight into these maintenance level calorie calculators, right? It's all just going to give you a ballpark. This isn't going to be your exact number. So the body weight example that you can do, if you're 130 pounds, you'll multiply your body weight by 16, and that's going to equal to 2,080 calories, right? You can do the same thing for an online calorie estimator. Just import your body weight and it'll spit out a number probably closer to this, but let's just say 2,100 calories, right? Now, mind you, these are just ballparks. These aren't just going to be your set in stone number that you're going to eat from now to 12 weeks from now to where you're actually packing on more size, because this number is going to have to change over time. But this is how you can at least get a good gauge of what exactly you're supposed to be doing in order to consistently gain weight week after week. But something that a lot of you guys are going to face is this reality, right? Let's say you take this, you multiply your body weight times 16, and you get this number. And let's say you eat this number, or you eat at this number for a few weeks, right? Let's say this is week 1, week 2, and then week 3, right? Let's say you're consistently gaining about, let's say this is half a pound a week, right? Or a pound a week, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden you notice, hey, I'm eating at 2,080 calories, but my weight is completely plateaued after eating 3 weeks. What's going on? I'm still eating the same amount of food. Well, the only thing that you have to do from here, it's very simple, is simply just up the calories, because all this shows is that your body has made this its new maintenance, right? This is no longer what your body needs to gain half a pound to a pound a week. It needs more because it's adjusted to this. So what you do, let's say at week 3, you're going to up this anywhere from 3 to 500 calories, right? So now you're eating at 2,380 calories, and then you should be able to consistently gain weight again. And then this is going to ultimately happen again if this is in the long term. Let's say this is week 9, whatever it may be. And then you rinse and repeat this cycle of adding, 300 to 500 calories, right? And then you'll continue doing that until you get to your desired weight, right? So that's the most simple way that you can make sure that you're in a surplus and to actually know what to do when you inevitably plateau in weight. And I want you guys to understand that slow and steady is the desired speed of this process. What a lot of you guys are going to do, or what a lot of guys have done in the past, is that they'll try to gain 2 to 3 pounds a week, something crazy, right? Like 2 to 3 pounds in a week is absolutely ridiculous, right? And you may say, but Isaiah, I'm skinny, I want to be bigger, I'm 130 pounds, I want to be 160 next week. And it's like, I get it, dude. I know that you want to be bigger. I know that you want more size and all of these different things. You want to be stronger. But what you have to understand is that you want to be ideally gaining half a pound to maybe a pound and a half per week, and cap it out there. Because what's going to happen when you get to this point to where you're trying to gain 2 to 3 pounds a week, you're just going to get fat, and you're going to hate your physique, and then you're going to be stuck in this cycle to where you're going to be eating a ton of food, you're going to get fat, you're going to look like trash, and then you're going to stop eating again, and then you're going to rinse and repeat this cycle. So avoid dirty bulking. Do not ever dirty bulk. Never. This is the most unsustainable way to gain size. I understand that some people do it, and I understand that some people they gain a lot of fat and they stay there, and then they cut down and then they look great. But there's absolutely no reason for you guys to go the dirty bulking route when you can just bulk up cleanly, right? Eat the right kind of foods. Make sure you're not in too big of a surplus so that you don't turn into just a skinny fat guy that looks like trash, right? Because you guys obviously want to have great physiques. So this is the surplus. Super simple. All right, the eating system. Meal 1, meal 2, and meal 3. And these are going to be anchor meals. What does anchor meal mean? This means these are the meals that you're going to be eating pretty much every single day, right? Or at least meals that you're going to have available when you don't have time to cook, or if you're busy or whatever it may be. These are quick meals that are going to be macro friendly. They're going to be high in protein, and they're going to be high in calories, right? So let's use a couple of examples just to give you guys an idea of what this looks like. Let's say this is chicken and rice. Let's say this is a protein shake. And then let's say this is beef and rice. So let's say every single day you eat beef and rice, and then you eat a protein shake, right? And it may sound like, Isaiah, I don't want to eat the same meals every day. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. It's like, dude, do you want to get bigger or not? Do you want to improve your physique or not? Right? Because if you're watching this video, it's because you obviously haven't been able to stay consistent enough with your diet, training, whatever it may be. So these are going to be the meals that you're going to be eating pretty much every day. right? And that's why they're called anchor meals, because the reality of it is the more that you can simplify your meat, the more that you can simplify the process of thinking of what to eat to actually doing it is going to make it so much easier, right? So if you're able to just eat the same 3 meals every single day, and let's say just hypothetically, this gets you about 80% of the way to your nutrition goals or to your macro goals, that means you're going to have an 80% higher success rate than you would have if you had 0% anchor meals, right? So now, other than you having to worry about, man, what am I going to eat today? How am I going to get my calories in? How is these, oh, if I eat this, is it going to fit my macros? You don't even have to think about that anymore. You can just eat the same meals every day. Of course, it's going to be, you know, oh man, I'm kind of tired of eating this, or I don't want to eat this anymore. You can switch these up, of course, but the reality of it is the only reason why we're doing this is so we continue to hit our macros each and every day. And you doing this is going to make it, like I said, 80% easier because the job's already done, right? All you have to do is eat. You don't have to think about when, you don't have to think about how, you don't have to incorporate, oh, does this hit my macros? You have these exact meals where you know the exact amount of macros and you know, hey, if I eat meal 1, 2, and 3, all I have to do is eat, let's say, 500 more calories and I'm there, right? So you having these anchor meals is going to make it so much easier for you to hit your goals or your macro goals every single day, right? Just simplify your eating. And by the way, if you want me to build your exact surplus and meal plan around your schedule, the first link below is where you can apply for coaching, but let's get back into this video. All right, your training plan. Now, there's a ton of different training splits out there. You have upper lower, you have bro split, you have PP, you have all these different workouts that are, you know, online, whatever it may be. The biggest thing that matters is that, one, you're training in a way that you enjoy, because that is a huge part of training. And you're also training in a way that's effective and that's going to get you to where you want to be, right? And on top of that, you're progressively overloading. So you can do a bro split, you can do a PPL split, whatever it is, like as long as you're training consistently and you're hitting the right muscle groups, you're going to be fine. But I personally prefer upper lower, and I also give my clients a split that is upper lower because it's helped me the most and I've seen the most progress on it, right? So like I said, the biggest thing that matters is, sure, you can do these two. Don't feel like, oh, he crossed them out, I can't do these. You can train whatever way that you want. Like I said, biggest thing is just progressively overloading. And what is progressively overloading? I'll put it in a very, very simple format for you guys. So progressively overloading, put in the most simple way, is think of this as any movement. This could be chest fly, it could be a dumbbell curl, it can be bench press, whatever it may be, right? Let's say week 1, you're doing 80 pounds. Let's say next week you do the exact same movement. It's a very key component of this. The exact same movement that you did the week before, you're able to do 5 pounds more. And then next week, 5 pounds more than that previous week, 5 pounds more than that previous week, and 5 pounds more, and so on and so forth. Basically, the biggest thing that you guys have to understand with progressively overloading is that you're challenging your body in the same movement to do more than it did last time. Now, obviously, like I said, this could be any movement, but let's say this is on bench. The goal with this is to progressively get stronger with the same amount of rep ranges each and every week, right? But with certain movements or certain splits is going to be a bit differently. So let's say you're doing a chest fly, right? Or a pec deck. And let's say one week you do 8 to 10 reps, and let's say you do 100 pounds. Now let's say the week after that, and this may seem very obvious, but I just want to clarify for you guys. Let's say you do 6 to 7 reps, and let's say you do this for 110. And let's say this is week 1 and this is week 2. All right, now obviously, and this is why it's important to have a split, you wouldn't necessarily say, oh, I progressively overloaded, or I can gauge my progression on this because you did less reps with more weight. Does that mean you're stronger than last time? Not necessarily, right? And obviously the goal is to be able to get stronger each and every week. But like I was saying before, the importance of having a split is that these are going to be the same movements, either when you cycle the training or when you do different workouts per week, right? So let's say week 1 to week 2, week 3. Let's say 8 to 10, and then let's say 6, let's say 4 to 6, and then let's say 8 to 10. Right? All right, cool. So let's say this is your split, and this is obviously just for the sake of example. Let's say week 1 you do cable fly and you do 100 pounds. All right, week 2, let's say you do cable fly or some sort of different movement and you do 120, and then let's say week 3 you do cable fly, and you do 110, right? Now you can gauge, all right, cool, I'm progressively overloading on this specific movement. Not, oh, you know, I'm doing more weight and that's it. It's like, no, you're doing more weight for the same amount of rep ranges with the exact same movement. That's what you want when you're progressively overloading, right? In every single movement that you do, whether that's accessory or compound, okay? Hope you guys got that. It's pretty straightforward. All right, now the consistency system is very straightforward, very simple, right? The easiest way that you can start doing this is by writing down your habits and the things that you need to do each and every day from Monday to Sunday, right? So let's say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You do this for each and every day. All right, so now when it comes to doing this, you want to keep it very simple. You want to do 6 to 8 habits max, in my opinion. You don't want to do anything more than 10, especially once you're getting started, because then that's where you can be kind of getting yourself overwhelmed, right? And obviously I'm not going to tell you guys every single thing that you're going to need to do day in and day out, because I don't know your situation personally. But here's a quick example, right? Write down every single week. You want to do a minimum of 2 workouts, just for the example, right? And then in Notion or in your notebook, and Notion is just an app to where you can kind of organize these different lists of things. You want to put in the habits that you want to practice, right? So an example of this is for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can set up this in Notion or in a notebook saying, hey, I need to eat the right amount of calories, or I need to hit my macros, right? And then you also write down, I need to train, right? Train, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, and X, Y, and Z, everything else that you would need to do, just write it down in advance, and just make it your mission to check off those boxes each and every week. And it's so simple, but the thing of it is, when you're able to write down or have an exact checkpoint of what you need to do each and every day, it gives you so much more clarity. And with more clarity, you're able to move and know exactly what you need to do each and every day. And you can also give yourself a bit of a feedback loop that makes you feel better in the moment or feel accomplished each and every day, because every single day you're literally checking off win after win that's ultimately going to bring you to your goal of gaining, 10 to 20 pounds, right? So just something really quick, but very simple. This small little habit can make you develop better habits so much quicker, and it's just going to allow you to enjoy the process a bit more, because now you're going to see, okay, I'm putting in the right amount of effort and this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing each and every day. So let me do that thing. Pretty simple. Because the reason why you fall off isn't just simply motivation, is that life gets in the way, and then it's really easy to kind of just push these things to the side. And when those things that I had on the board, obviously I erased it now, when those become your bare minimums or your non-negotiables, that's when you can start becoming the type of person that has a goal that you want. Ultimately, just putting you on the right path to get there even faster, or to make sure that you stay on that track. All right, now you've got 3 options. 1, you do nothing. You stay at the same weight that you've always been at next month, then next summer, then next year if you choose to. Option 2, you try to piece everything together on your own, the same way you tried before. You might gain some muscle, you might make a little bit of progress, but ultimately that start and stop cycle is going to come back to get you, most likely. Or option 3, you can work with me. You can have me make your customized training plan, hold you accountable, make sure that you're dialed in with your nutrition, your habits, have a community of like-minded men, weekly calls, the whole shebang. I'm not going to go into a whole tangent on what exactly is inside on this video, but overall, just have someone to make sure that you will 100% get to the goal that you've been having in mind for months or even years now. So if you want that, just click the link below and book in a call with me, and I'll speak with you then. But if not, I hope this video helps you, and I'll talk to you guys next time.